I'm with you. I think when I first started, but probably all of us live here for a little while. I pulled in other people's code not because I wanted to, but because I literally couldn't accomplish it myself.
Oh, good. Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I literally, well, I don't know how to do this. I literally don't know how. So I'm going to find someone else who does, and I'm going to use theirs. And then over time, theirs lets you down in whatever ways that other people's code always does. And so you find yourself peeling back the covers, you find yourself patching things, submitting issues if you're like seriously using this over a span. And you just slowly learn how that thing works. And then the next time, I still can't write it myself, but I'm not going to pull that one in this time. I'm going to try
Right.
somebody else's, right? Because
Right.
the grass is greener. And you see they tackled the problem from a different angle, and you see that they have these advantages, but now these other drawbacks that you're living with, and now you've learned two ways to tackle that problem. And eventually you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I've seen other people do this. I've seen where those solutions stand up and fall down. And so I'm going to give it a whirl, the old college try. And sometimes that works out nicely, and other times, not so much, and you go back to collaborating on somebody else's piece of code. But it really was out of necessity at first, and then eventually you just don't have the same necessities because you've learned, you've
Yeah.
advanced.
I hadn't thought about that either, but that's spot on. I mean, early on, first time you do anything, first time I need to, I don't know, parse a really large XML document that's too big just to kind of like read as one doc. I got to do a streaming parser or something like that, right?
Right.
Like, well, pulling in something that makes that really easy and provides a DSL for me so I don't have to think too hard about, streaming a file read,
Right.
like that the cost to learn how to do it right, to learn the underlying concepts, to learn like the XML spec is so much higher. And then to do it myself is so much higher than just pulling the thing in. That's the right calculus at the beginning. But then, and we see this writ large over and over again, but I think it's interesting to think about as an individual developer so that we can have some culpability in this. Like if I pull in that dependency and then it slowly burns me 5 times or 100 times over the course of years, and then I pull in the second, dependency and the third one to try to like solve the same problem. And if they all fall flat, pretty soon the cumulative cost to my productivity over years of trying to externalize this problem ends up
Right.
dwarfing the cost it would have cost me just to like read the spec. And I've learned that lesson enough now that it's part I'm a more competent developer, and it's part muscle memory of just like I've learned sometimes you just got to swallow the bitter pill and learn a thing.